I was the typical unpopular girl at school. I had zero friends throughout the first few years of high school. I was probably the most unpopular girl at the school. I don't know why. Maybe it was because I was boring. Maybe I was too much of a nerd. Or maybe it was because I was poor. Either way, I was unpopular. But all that changed, and I ended up dating the most popular guy at school. Wonder how? Stay tuned to the end of the video to find out. But before I go on, make sure you like and subscribe and hit that notification bell. If you do, you will become popular by the end of the week. Trust me, it really works. Even though I was the most unpopular girl at school, I had a crush on Tony, who was the most popular guy at school. Tony had it all. The looks, the brains, the athleticism, the charm. He was basically perfect, and I was in love with him. Every night I would write in my diary fantasies of us getting married and having children, but I knew it would never happen. A guy like him could never be into a girl like me. All of the girls had a crush on Tony too. They didn't hide their feelings and always flirted with Tony every time he was around. Tony also had a new girlfriend every other week, and he went through girls like my dad goes through old Western movies. Fast. I guess that should have been a red flag to me, but I was too clouded by my love for him to know better. Anyways, one day I decided to write Tony a love letter. I went to the library and wrote down the first few sentences. It went like this. Dear beloved Tony, my love, it is time you know who your biggest admirer is. It's me, Samantha. I have been in love with you since I first laid eyes on you. I know you probably don't know who I am since I am so unpopular, but if you give me a chance, I can be the best girlfriend you've ever had. I'll do everything you want. Once you get to know me, you never know. Maybe you'll love me too. Please tell me if you feel the same way. But my love letter was cut short when a group of girls entered the library. I looked up and rolled my eyes. It was Cherry and her squad of copies. They were basically the plastics from the Mean Girls movie, all wearing pink and bullying any other girl who stood in their way. Cherry was Tony's current girlfriend, and she just loved to flaunt her status in front of everyone, especially me. I looked away, trying to avoid contact, but Cherry spotted me. She strutted over with her high heels and snatched my letter right from my fingertips. Finders keepers, she sneered. Then she started reading the letter and showed it to her friends too. They all burst out laughing. Tony would never date you in a million years. You're so pathetic, said Cherry. You brat, I yelled, and I ran out of the library, but I was already crying. I ran all the way home and went into my room. I'll show them, I thought. Tony would totally date me. And so I devised a plan that would surely make Tony date me. I searched online for actors, and I found a guy who said he was willing to do anything for me. I called his number and explained the plan to him. He was charging me a hefty $1,000, but I was willing to do anything to get Tony to date me and prove that stupid Cherry wrong. I transferred the money and the deal was done. The plan would take place the next day. Tony and I happened to live on the same street, so sometimes I would see him when I walked home from school. Sure enough, the next day I spotted him and ran up to him. Hi, Tony, I said nervously. Oh, he looked surprised. Hi, Samantha, I said. Oh, yeah. Hi, Samantha. We walked in silence for a few more moments when suddenly a car came flying around the corner and headed straight towards us. Tony was looking the other way and didn't notice. The car was heading straight towards him. He was gonna get run over. Tony, look out! I yelled and dived forward and barreled into him. Tony turned and spotted the car, and then I pushed him out of the way just in time. The car flew past, narrowly avoiding us. That was a little too close, I thought to myself, and then turned to Tony. He was looking at me strangely, and then he spoke. You saved my life. I laughed nervously. Yeah, I guess so, I replied. And then I just went for it. Look, Tony, I really like you. Will you go out with me? Tony looked shocked, but then he smiled. After you just saved my life? Of course. I almost couldn't believe what I was hearing. Tony was willing to date me? Dreams really do come true, I thought happily. After that eventful day, Tony and I started dating. He had immediately dumped Cherry without a second thought, and I really enjoyed walking hand in hand with Tony down the school hallways. Everyone stared because they couldn't understand why the most popular guy would date the least popular girl. But I didn't care. I was finally with the love of my life. Things were great at first. Being with Tony instantly raised my popularity level at school. Other girls started to speak to me because I was Tony's girlfriend, and I even made a few friends. Well, I knew they weren't my real friends, but still, it felt nice to be liked and appreciated. I sat at the popular table at lunch, and all the while I could feel Cherry's deadly stare behind me from the other table. Cherry had been demoted from the popular table since she wasn't Tony's girlfriend anymore. I relished in her hatred. I had proved her wrong. I guess you know by now that I hired that actor to drive that car and fake running over Tony. Maybe you did, maybe you didn't. Whatever the case, that's what I did. That's how I made Tony date me. Now, I realize how stupid that was of me. What if Tony had been killed? What if I had been killed? So many things could have gone wrong that day. It was just very lucky for me that they didn't. Anyways, I was fine with Tony only dating me because of my fake act of heroism. I had him all to myself. So what was wrong with that? I loved being his girlfriend. I loved the popularity. I loved all the girls' jealous stares. But there was one thing that really surprised me. As it turned out, I didn't really love Tony. I mean, the first few dates were great, but then they started getting really boring. Man, Tony could be such a bore sometimes. He only spoke about himself, and never once did he ask any questions about me. It was like he didn't care about me at all. And the guy was also quite a jerk. He gossiped about all of his friends and all of his past girlfriends. And the amount of secrets I learned in the time I dated him is probably enough to fill a whole Olympic swimming pool. It was crazy. Tony and I also didn't have that much in common. He was popular, I wasn't. He liked sports, I liked reading. We were polar opposites. And Tony didn't put much effort into finding out about my interests. I got bored real quick. But the problem was, I couldn't just dump him. First off, everyone would hate me for it. If Tony dumped me, sure, everyone thought that that was fine, since he was the most popular guy at school. But if I dumped him, the least popular girl dumping the most popular guy, well, everyone would hate me for the rest of my high school years. And I could say goodbye to the popularity I had gained. I knew it all depended on Tony. And so I decided to keep my dissatisfaction a secret and continued to date Tony. Other girls always complained about how jealous they were of me, and that's when I thought of a plan. There were two main problems in my life. A, I had to date Tony. And B, I was very poor. My parents both had dead-end jobs and worked long hours for little pay. I suddenly thought of an idea that could solve both of my problems at once. I could rent my boyfriend out to other girls. I believed I was a genius. Whenever a girl approached me asking about Tony, I would say, "Do you want to go on a date with him?" Usually the girls would be shocked and suspicious, since it was very strange of me as Tony's girlfriend to say something like that. But when I explained how they could go on a few dates with Tony for a small payment, they were immediately on board. No one asked my reasoning for allowing that. I guess they were just more excited about getting to date Tony. The next tricky part was getting Tony on board. I had to do it in a way so he had no idea what was going on, because otherwise he would dump me and I would immediately lose all the popularity I had worked so hard for. So I would organize dates between Tony and I and cancel at the last second. Then, while Tony was at the location of the date, let's say the park, I would send one of the girls, the paying clients, to his location, and thus they could enjoy a date. Easy peasy. For a while, this worked out really well. I had a bunch of packages for dates with Tony, and I was pulling in thousands of dollars a month. I gave most of the money to my parents, and when they asked where I got it from, I told them I got a job at a local grocery store, when in reality, I was just renting my boyfriend. But then it started to bother me how willingly Tony was meeting up with the other girls. He was cheating on me, and he didn't seem to care. I half expected Tony to stop after the first few clients I sent to him, but he didn't. Every day he cheated on me. He thought I had no idea, but I knew. Heck, I was the one organizing it all. Why would he do this to me? Didn't he love me? And that's when I snapped. I had to get him back for this. He couldn't just cheat on me and get away with it. I was really angry, and I didn't care if I ended up losing my popularity. I wanted revenge on my boyfriend. For the next 10 clients, I started attaching recorded devices to their clothing to record their dates. Then when they returned, I would download the footage and edit them into one video, a compilation of all the times he cheated on me. Then came the next phase of my plan. Tony and I were at someone's birthday party. There was a movie playing on screen, but suddenly I stepped up to the computer and inserted a USB. I looked at everyone and shouted out loud, "Tony, I know you're a cheat!" "What?" cried Tony in confusion. "I'm not a cheater." "You cheated on me many times," I accused. "Don't deny it." "I swear I didn't," he replied. I shook my head, then pressed play on the video I had edited. There, everyone had a clear view of all the times he cheated on me and flirted with other girls on his dates. Tony's mouth fell open in shock. I loved watching his face flare up in embarrassment, but then his face changed. "Fine," he said. "If you want to embarrass me in front of everyone, I'll do the same to you. I know that you hired that actor to pretend to run me over, just so you could save me." My jaw dropped. "How did you find out?" "I ran into him at a supermarket and I recognized him as that crazy driver," said Tony. "After a while, I made him confess the truth to me." "That's it, Samantha. We're through." "Fine," I shouted. "Fine," he shouted back. And ironically, in the end, neither of us ended up popular. Turns out no one could deal with our pointless drama, and both me and Tony were left behind by the other kids. We both became unpopular because everyone figured I was such a manipulator and Tony was such a jerk. That wasn't the ending I expected.